I'm a neo-reactionary absolutist. I believe in a absolute world order, organized in a particular way.
When you're looking at a government is a corporation that owns a country. It just is. It's the same thing.
I'm Peter Thiel. I support people who are building new things. I'm not a politician, but neither is Donald Trump. And it's time to rebuild America.
Anything we can do to help this go along, and we're going to be there for you. And you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command.
So in the last episode, we learned the actual interview, Suraj, is in the band Jam for Freedom. And Jam for Freedom are pretty much in Piers Corbyn's pocket. And they're currently being endorsed by Steve Bannon. They've recently upgraded their website, and it looks incredibly posh now. And the website itself, as soon as you click on it, it comes up with this pop-up advertising Steve Bannon's podcast. This is Campbell McLaughlin and Suraj's actual coverage. The rest of the band members are here, and there's more of them it's a jam, so I think anyone can come along and join in if they got the skills or not. I think that anyone can join. Scum Media went and reviewed Jam for Freedom, and they did a little 12-minute kind of documentary about what they're all about. Scum Media is run by a couple of people. One, Lucy Brown. Lucy Brown used to work with Tommy Robinson. This is her wearing a Sonnenrad, a Nazi symbol. And as well as Lucy Brown, another guy is Unwashed. Unwashed also runs Scum Media. And this is him here with patriotic alternative leader and Hitler lover, basically, Mark Collette. Jam for Freedom are a vehicle for the dog whistles to the far right to kind of go unnoticed within the movement. It's steeped in conspiracy. It gets quite laughable here.
Chemical stripes raining down on you and I. Don't you ever wonder why there's lines in the sky?
Talking about chemtrails and the conspiracy that they're trying to block the sun out and that kind of thing. It gets more kind of insidious when you see kids being groomed by this misinformation through the vehicle of music.
Music travels further.
Universal language.
One song will travel very, very far. Sometimes if you do journalism, it's not going very well. It's like bashing your head against the brick wall. It's not very enjoyable.
No, I agree completely. Because if you trick people, not trick people. I'm saying it's a joke. But if someone hears this song, they go, "Oh, this is really nice. I really like it. It's a good song." And then they pay attention to the lyrics, and they go, "Hold on a second. I don't agree with this, but I did like what this this human being was doing."
Yeah.
And I like it, and I can tell, I can connect. Maybe I should listen to what they're saying.
Yeah,
that's the power of my art.
The conspiracy nonsense that they spout isn't so benign as just chemtrails, and you get like flat earthers at these protests as well. It all leads up to the biggest conspiracy, which is Holocaust denial, which is promoted in The Light, and Campbell McLaughlin, off camera at the moment, can be heard endorsing this Light newspaper.
Check it out, fantastic paper. Are we being misled by design? India's crisis, likely due to vaccines. And then we got solutions, Jam for Freedom, baby!
You can see they've been promoted in this anti-Semitic newspaper. Some people have argued with me that the paper's not anti-Semitic, but let's just put those to bed right now. This is actually quite an interesting article until it gets to the end. It's talking about mass mind control through the mainstream media, and it does make some good points. However, it is just a manipulation. It drags you in to get you to agree to the points that it's making, and then once it gets to the end, it's like, oh, Well, it's made some good points so far, so its last point must be true. So in regards to kilts and saris, their connection to Holocaust denial, the number one heresy of our day, so that's the conspiratorial nature of the band. They just don't care, they want to have fun, and that kind of thing. And because they're dog whistling to the far right in subtle ways, it's no surprise to see other pop stars and famous people also endorsing the band Jam for Freedom. Let's listen to a bit more of the Scum Media.
And then we got another donation to get a car, so then we got a car. We're up about maybe like 30 gigs at that point. I then had an accident with the car, someone overtook me, hit a lamppost.
Show how reckless he is. He just crashes into a lamppost and blames it on somebody overtaking him. Okay.
But then Eric Clapton helped us out after a huge gig in Hyde Park, where police once again got involved and ended the party.
So we're going to get into this in a little bit. So like you just mentioned, they're being funded by Eric Clapton, endorsed by Van Morrison and others like Right Said Fred. Rolling Stone did an article on Eric Clapton, who isn't just spouting vaccine nonsense, he's bankrolling it. Eric Clapton went from setting the standard for rock guitar to making full tilt racist rants to becoming an outspoken vaccine skeptic. Did he change, or was he always like this? I tried really hard to find the raw footage of him on stage saying this, and it is explicit. I'm not even going to read this. You can read this yourself. I don't want to say these words on camera, to be honest. This is him back in the day on stage to his crowd, just basically telling non-white people that they should not just get out of the country, get out of his concert. And like I say, I've looked for this footage everywhere. I can't find it. All I can find is lots of occasions where he's just talking about it, and he finds it funny.
And I'm not excusing myself. It was an awful thing to do. And then look at it now, when you have to look back at it. Yeah. What does it make you think? I think it's funny, actually. It's the kind of thing. It is. There's one thing where I introduced my drummer and I used the C word, and I'd heard from the film crew that they were going to put that on. They wanted T-shirts.
So you hear him there say he just thinks it's funny. His past racist comments, he just thinks is funny. He makes no apologies for it there. He must have spent a lot of money to hide that clip, and he thinks that these interviews absolve himself from his past behaviour. So as we heard Campbell say in the earlier video, he crashed his car, and then Eric Clapton donated a van, his tour van, transporter, and donated a big cash donation, which we don't know the amount of. They alluded to this event in an earlier clip. They had a protest on the 26th of June, ended it in Hyde Park, set up their band equipment and had a bit of a jam. And in exactly the same way as the vigil, during the COVID pandemic and lockdown, they knew they weren't allowed to do this. They knew the police would eventually come and try and break it up as they all got more and more crowded together. So they basically baited the police to come and try and move everybody on. And once they came into the crowd, the crowd then used that as their spark to incite the police to not just be there, but start getting violent. Just to be clear, this woman was at the vigil having interviews to camera, just with a big smile on her face, as if it was like all a big joke, and not really seeing it as the silent vigil where people were grieving as it was. Resistance GB William Coleshill described this as a kamikaze operation by the police.
Was it online or were you there yourself?
I was there myself, but I wasn't close up to what was happening because there was a crowd of about 200 people surrounding the band, and I saw from the outside that a column of police in a semi-military formation just smashed into the people who were...
That guy was from the silent vigil. He's trying to hold the police back. And the police are obviously then having to respond to these people trying to push the police back.
Behaving impeccably. It wasn't as noisy. They were just quietly enjoying the music.
How can you quietly enjoy music? This is just constant contradictions in his speech, and what you'll see him with a big smile on his face.
Dancing a little bit. The police action came out of nowhere. I only was able to see the whole thing later from various angles because people took film of it. There was.
So he wasn't even there. He's just watched the propaganda versions of it, and now he's trying to put his own spin on the propaganda that's already out there.
GB, subject access, tyrant finder.
See, this woman here has just lost her baton. We'll come to that in a second. She got punched in the face.
It really was bizarre. I mean, it was a kind of kamikaze operation by the police. They must have known they were going to get battered. Not in a bloodbath, nobody wants that, but just a few irate beer cans or water bottles being thrown in their direction. Well,
just a few. You saw about 5 being thrown there in 1 second.
I'm afraid they deserved it. I'd love to know the justification for the senior police involved in sending in this kamikaze squad of about 50 closely packed police, smashing straight into the crowd of about 200 people who were peacefully and quietly enjoying some music, which wasn't even...
Again, how can you peacefully and quietly enjoy some music? Unless you've got headphones on. Like...
even loud. I can barely express my astonishment and disgust at the fact that this was a deliberate and calculated operation in order to provide a provocation so that it would go in the media, and it certainly did go in the media. It was front page headline in the Metro.
So look at this guy here. He's in one hand taking this woman's baton and in the other punching her in the face with her own arm. She's got blood on her head. He'll say that he was doing that in self-defense. She was about to hit someone. I'm going to show you in a second how that is absolutely not the case.
The following day with a poor guy who was also seen, this is rather peculiar, taken from another angle, wagging his finger at the police who were being violent, and then the police were violent to him, and then he grappled with a woman.
Remember the
I don't
wag.
know exactly what was going on because it was obscured despite being filmed from several angles.
Another one who's
in the end, he was dragged away.
known for being violent. Look, here we go.
A bit of a hero. He's obviously a victim. I'd love to.
He's a hero, apparently. Watch him. She's not even looking at him at the time. She's looking at her own police officers. Like, where are my colleagues? Looking behind her.
It was going on because it was obscured despite being filmed.
She's
from
even
several angles. But in the
touching
end, he
her
was
mask
dragged
as if
away.
to put it back up.
I think he's a bit of a hero.
He's a hero
victim.
for
I'd love to
targeting
know
a woman
what
who's
happened to
kind
him
of
in the end. I think
stood.
maybe you could get his perspective if you can track him down, but he's on the film. It's quite clear.
Yeah, well, I have heard that.
He's got 2 batons in his hands there.
Take the baton away from the police
right.
officers, but what they did, they got that photo and they spun it that way. It was enough. It was enough.
They got that photo and spun it that way.
Well, you know, I lived in the Soviet Union as a student, and the way that the press, the media, the mass media...
More connections to Russia. This guy, what did he say, lived or studied in the Soviet Union? Lived in the Soviet Union as a student.
Has been bought and corrupted and transformed into a ruthless, cynical organ of state propaganda. It's absolutely sickening. At the time of the Soviet Union, people, including myself, looked to the BBC to be an objective and independent source of honest, truthful, reliable reporting. They now, as the principal offender, have been transformed into an open sewer of propaganda, misinformation, deception, and outright lies. It's beyond terrifying. I don't know where this is going to lead, but the fact that I had a ringside seat
He had a ringside seat now, but earlier he said he was 30 meters away and he had to watch it all on various footage. So he's just completely contradicting himself over and over and over again. So let's see this from Subject Access's angle, and see if we can get some more info from this. So the police are coming in. See this kid here? That's Nick Sundin. He's popped up in various videos so far as the guy who came out of Downing Street when Nick Watt was being chased around Whitehall by this same collection of people. Check who comes out. There's a guy who comes out of Downing Street at this time. Here he is. Who's this guy? This guy is a guy called Nick Sundin. Tory candidate suspended over tweets calling Prophet Muhammad a paedophile. Yeah. Let's see what he did when he came out of Downing Street. The usual suspects. So there's William Coleshill there. He owns the Resistance GB channel. And they're having... He's asking, did he get some good shots? This is William Coleshill. He was just chasing Nick Watt into Downing Street. Now he's having a conversation with a guy who was in Downing Street coming out, who's very much involved with these guys. He was always with Subject Access Sam English. Like, he's in bed with them. And oh, look, William Coleshill has also been suspended as a Tory councillor for racist remarks. It's like they're in some sort of club. Just like the vigil, people started getting too close together, not respecting the silent vigil. These people have had their march. Now they're all congregating together really close on the fields. The police are under instructions because of the pandemic and the lockdown not to allow large gatherings of people. This kid here with the hat is Nick Sundin's friend. These are the two that never have their cameras out when people are just marching. They never take photos of people's banners and things. They never take photos of things just being nice and calm. They are there for the chaos. They walk with the police when they know there's just about to be a flare-up and some chaos, and then as soon as it happens, out comes their cameras. Oh, take the shots, take the shots, take the shots. That woman there in the orange hat, she's another camera person, again at the silent vigil, making doing interviews to camera and things. So they're in a single file in a line. They're not touching anyone. They're being booed. People are starting to push them back and get in their way. It's as people start doing that, more and more people join in. You see Laura, Coleshill's assistant, an editor for Resistance GB, right in the front lines, right just there. There's his finger wag that he mentioned earlier. That guy just off camera there, Tommy Robinson fan. This guy here, Tommy Robinson fan, he's actually started causing a lot of chaos and calling out people in his movement. I'm not sure what that's all about, but it's kind of enjoyable to watch with one eye on. And the bottles start flying in. There's my stand-up ex-stalker. Let me give you exactly what happened when I saw this guy outside my street. I was coming home from the supermarket where I was followed around kind of like lots of times. I get to the like halfway home, which just by like this little park. I'm crossing the road and he's kind of also like walking along the road to I'm crossing the road and he's walking kind of like down there. He sees me see him, and I'm thinking, is that him? Because he had some facial hair. And then he looked right at me and he stepped to me like that. I was and I can't remember, I think I just had one bag, and he was with someone. It was like the middle of the day. I instantly knew he's not going to fucking do anything. So I'm like, I usually just sing. Like, I've got my earphones in when I'm walking and I'm just singing or something. So I'm just continually singing while he steps at me. And then because I don't flinch, because I'm not a fucking pussy, he just, like, he just looked like really upset, confused, like, oh, that didn't work. Because he's a big guy. He could obviously take me. Like he probably weighs twice as much as me. But yeah, he just walked off. It's like, all right then, nice to see you outside my home. Like, loads of these characters that I mean, no one ever stepped to me like he did. But yeah, I've had numerous characters that have just kind of been in my face and tried. I assume they want me to react, to shit myself, or to, like, I had one woman follow me right behind as I'm crossing the road, and as if she was trying to get in my bag. I'm crossing the road. I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to cross the road. I'm going to let her cross the road, and I'm going to carry on walking, because she was right behind me, so she must be wanting to cross the road as well. I decided to walk straight on, assuming that she did cross the road, and then when I get to the next junction, I look behind me, and she's right there again. I'm like, well, hey, what are you doing? And then I start, and then she crosses the road, and then I'm like, okay, now I'll follow you. Now you're in front. And as soon as I started doing that, I thought, okay, now I'm kind of following a woman. This looks bad. This potentially the bait. And I kind of pulled back and started like walking my own way. These are these creeps. They're there to bait people. They, in the way that they try to bait me into shitting myself or like fighting back. They do exactly the same things with the police. All the bottles start flying in. Here you've got the 17-year-old kid in the last video that was, he's been arrested for his involvement in the harassment of Nick Watt. Beer's just streaming in. There's a woman here picking up bottles on the floor. I'm not sure if she's collecting ammo for like a second throw, or if she's genuinely trying to collect them to prevent people throwing them. But you can see it's complete carnage. They feel completely entitled to break COVID rules, infect as many people as possible inadvertently, and that obviously has a detrimental effect on society when it helps to spread the virus more. So the woman who got punched has been dragged back to the back of the police line. She loses a hat. A big gas canister's thrown in here. Like, they were ready for this assault, and as soon as it came in, they retaliated. I mean, I shouldn't even classify it as the police assault. All they did was walk into the group. They would have probably started warning people to move, but they didn't even the protesters didn't even want the police to speak to them. There's Marco Giovanni. He's at every protest. The free hugs guy, Ollie. And look, it's like a war zone. Smoke grenades. Can't see what's going on. Policemen losing hats everywhere. I think that's the woman who got punched and lost her baton. This guy's got his fist clenched as if he's ready, waiting. This woman here is going to get punched in a second. There you go. I think I've got a better angle of that on my Twitter thread of this event. But it's exactly the same as the vigil. Cause a bit of panic, chaos, break the rules, and as soon as that happens, chaos. Turn the silent vigil into chaos. Turn a little gig into chaos. And Marco Giovanni, this guy's from Speaker's Corner, NRX affiliated, connected to Steve, Atheist Steve from Speaker's Corner. Look at this guy's angry face. Like, if you keep an eye on that guy through the footage, he is literally staring a woman down with his fist clenched. And it just looks so it's just gross. She's got no fear. Awesome. This guy jumps up and throws a bottle down on top of their heads. Watch this guy here. And I think that was Steve there, getting in on it. Yeah, right there. Look at him loving it. Fair play to the fat guy throwing the hat back. But that's the gaslight nature of the crowd. You've got some protesters trying to calm it down, some protesters being really aggressive. But this is exactly what they want, because then it controls the narrative, gets the attention of the media, and they can use it as this anti-police sentiment. When really, what are the police supposed to do here? There's a pandemic going on. They look at this guy. This guy has taken a bottle point blank to the face, I think. He's got blood pouring down his face. Where is he? Look at that. This guy in the corner here. In red. That was a glass bottle with liquid in. And these are the people who are going to hospitals, going to schools. He's got blood streaming down his face.
I'm a neo-reactionary absolutist. I believe in a absolute world order, organized a particular way.
When you're looking at a government is a corporation that owns a country. It just is. It's the same thing.
I'm Peter Thiel. I support people who are building new things. I'm not a politician, but neither is Donald Trump. And it's time to rebuild America.
Anything we can do to help this go along, and we're going to be there for you. And you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command.